Greetings. This is the weekly forecast commencing on Monday, December the 2nd, 2024. This is a very active week planetary-wise. Maybe having to make a lot of sudden decisions. You need to stay very adaptable, but you want to stay very grounded and focused because Mercury, don't forget, is retrograde until December the 15th. It started on November the 25th. So with Mercury in retrograde, transiting through the sign of Sagittarius, there could be where you could make a lot of second guessing. It's a lot of revising. You don't want to make commitments or promises with Mercury in retrograde because you don't have all the information or there's a misunderstandings. So you've heard this whole mantra, and we're going to have several long void of course days. That's when the moon is changing signs but no longer making aspects to other planets until it moves into the next sign. And a moon void of course is a time where the energy is flat, it's unproductive, and the general advice, don't make important decisions. But it's during Mercury in retrograde when you really don't want to make really important decisions. So in many ways, you got to really navigate this minefield for this first full week of December. But before I break down what's happening each day, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. All right. Monday starts the work week for most people, and the moon will be in Sagittarius. The moon goes through all the signs every 28 days approximately. The moon represents the public tone, the public reaction, and we start the work week with the moon in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. It's very inspirational, it's athletic, it's outgoing, it's adventurous, but it's going to go void of course at 7:48 a.m. to 1:10 p.m. Pacific time, at which point the moon goes into Capricorn. Sagittarius, there's more of an exuberance, an enthusiasm, but with the void, of course, it's best to just stick to the routine, especially with Mercury in retrograde. Don't introduce anything important. But when the moon goes into Capricorn, Mercury's still retrograde, but with the moon in Capricorn, there's more of a tendency to be more grounded, more sensible, more business-minded. Now, Venus, relational Venus, diplomatic Venus, creative Venus, will be in harmony with original, exciting, innovative Uranus. That Venus to Uranus could be very favorable for reconnecting. That's that retrograde, Mercury retrograde. It does a lot of reconnecting with friendships. But if there was your heart was being triggered and there was a sudden crush, or infatuation, because Venus is all that love and romantic energy in harmony with unexpected but exciting Uranus. But Mercury's in retrograde, the moon's void of course for much of the day, so enjoy the feeling. Don't put much stock into it. But it could also be stimulating more creative interest, new creative ideas, but best to go back over old ideas, pull them off the shelf, try it again, not introducing like a whole new creative direction. On Tuesday, moon continues in Capricorn. It is a day we keep more grounded, more organized, more business-minded, And in early afternoon, Pacific time, the moon in Capricorn will be in harmony with Saturn. And Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn. So everything that Capricorn represents, so does Saturn. So that early afternoon, Pacific time, is really good for business, but old business, not new business. It's also just emotionally where you're feeling more centered, more grounded, maybe a little bit more secure. Now, Wednesday, the moon continues in practical Capricorn, but it's going to go void of course, 3:35 p.m. to 8:22 p.m. Pacific time, at which point the moon goes into Aquarius. Now, Capricorn Aquarius once a month is very interesting in that kind of dynamics. In one way, Capricorn represents the establishment, the conventional, the past. And with the moon in Capricorn, we may be more drawn to history or being more conventional, traditional. Whereas when the moon goes into Aquarius, the public tone, Aquarius is more unconventional, very futuristic, can be a bit quirky. Now, so that starts moon in Aquarius, 8:22 p.m. Pacific time. Now, during this whole day, the sun is going to be squaring Saturn. This might happen every 3 months. It is a day where the sun is putting a spotlight on Saturn, or what you're trying to achieve. The Saturn can restrict and delay. A Sun-Saturn in the positive is, which is always what you want to, how can we use this energy more effectively, more productively? Well, with Saturn, you need to have a lot of patience, a lot of concentration, and just stay really determined and focused. Venus, that planet of creativity, that planet of love and romance, will be in harmony with Neptune. Venus-Neptune creatively is very inspiring, and with the Sun-Saturn, maybe you're able to accomplish a lot of creative work. But this is about maybe wrapping up or fine-tuning old creative projects, not new. When it comes to romance, Venus is that love and desire in harmony, it's called a sextile, in harmony with dreamy, romantic Neptune. So it's very favorable creatively, but romantically, you could be swept away. But the moon is going to be void, of course. Mercury is retrograde. That Sun, Saturn, you have some important lessons to learn. So it just may be more of a comfortable, sociable time, but not, and may be resolving or reconnecting to old relationships, but nothing new that's going to go anywhere. On Thursday, the 5th, with the moon in Aquarius, it's going to be in opposition or confrontation with impulsive, aggressive Mars. That's around 7, 8, maybe 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's only lasts an hour or two. And so once a month, that emotional moon is triggering Mars. There could be this arguments, tensions, a lot of impulsiveness, but you don't want to jump the gun on anything with that impulsive energy because Mercury's in retrograde. You don't have all the facts. You don't have all the information. And the retrograde Mercury on Thursday will be aligned with the sun. Now, the positive here is that the sun can bring some light to what you need to revise and rethink. Mercury in retrograde can be a very favorable time to reset, to revise, to re-edit, and not go forwards, but clean up the past, any misunderstandings, any mistakes. And Thursday could be a good day because the sun is really shining on that retrograde Mercury. But in the early part of the day, with the moon opposite Mars, like I said, maybe 7, 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific time, you may be more irritable, anxious, impulsive, but that too shall pass. Friday, on December the 6th, Mars goes retrograde. Mars retrogrades every 2 years. It's going to be retrograde from December the 6th in the sign of Leo, and then it's going to back into early January. It's going to retrograde back into Cancer until February the 23rd, which it then starts to go direct again, releasing all this pent-up energies. When Mars is retrograde, Mars is the warrior, aggressive, assertive energies. When it's retrograde, it's like you're feeling it's taking so much effort to accomplish your goals. You may be feeling more irritable. You may be feeling more drained. Now, well, that Mars in retrograde, and it's going to retrograde initially in Leo. So where Leo is in your chart, or how Leo impacts your sun sign, that you could feel a real energy shift where you're feeling more frustrated, more irritable, more impatient. And the moon continues in Aquarius, but going void of course at 4:02 p.m., Friday evening into Saturday, 1:50 a.m. Pacific time. And during this, with Mars going retrograde, which is going to really trigger a lot of irritability and maybe tensions, frustrations, retrograde Mercury, that was bringing more insight of what needs to be reevaluated on Thursday when the sun was shining on the retrograde Mercury. But on Friday, now the retrograde Mercury, planet of information communications, will be squaring or be restricted by Saturn. With Mercury in retrograde squaring Saturn, sometimes this can indicate, depending how it plays out in your individual chart, of getting an answer you've been expecting professionally, usually with Saturn, but even personally. That Saturn delays, it frustrates, many times it says no. Mercury is your mind, your decision making, and with Saturn, you might be really worried, overly cautious. And with that Mars shifting energies, it's not a good day for any kind of important negotiations and meetings, because retrograde Mercury, the planet of communications, is being restricted and delayed by Saturn. And the Mars in retrograde is you're feeling really anxious. Saturday, the moon is now in Pisces, where the moon was in Aquarius. Aquarius, as I said, it's more non-traditional, but it's also more detached, more impersonal, more objective. Then the moon, that kind of describes the public tone, goes into Pisces for 2.5 days. Pisces is more empathetic, it's more caring, it's more sensitive, it's more wearing your heart on your sleeve, and overall it's a good day, with just considering everything else is going on, because the Mars just is going retrograde and Mercury is in retrograde. But Venus, pleasurable, loving, creative Venus, will be aligning with Pluto. Pluto wants to go deep. And with Venus, Pluto, creatively, there could be this really compulsive energies to really become obsessed, go deep, with trying to express yourself creatively. Romantically, that you might be with the retrograde Mercury triggering a lot of misunderstandings, misreading things, and Venus is relationships aligning with Pluto. There might be some power struggles, some endings with Pluto, or Pluto, the ruler of the underworld, may be part of the Mercury in retrograde, could be Venus and Pluto, could be discovering secrets. But on a better note, the Sun in Sagittarius on Saturday will be in opposition to expansive lucky Jupiter, and Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So this is a good day for traveling, for making educational plans. That's all the Jupiter. But going into a Saturday evening and the Sun Jupiter, there's more of this optimism and this outgoingness. And with pleasurable, entertaining Venus, with Pluto, you might have these strong desires to connect socially. It's great for socializing with friends, going to a party, or attending any kind of entertainment venue, because you could be really swept away with the excitement of it. And on Sunday, the moon, continuing in Pisces, will be in a hard angle to Sun and Jupiter, 6 to 8 a.m. Pacific time. That's where you could be feeling overly optimistic because of the Jupiter, and with inflated expectations. And you got to be really careful with that inflatedness of Jupiter with the moon, and the Mercury is the planet that is about expectations. And when it's retrograde, expect the unexpected. But the moon, later after it passes by in the morning, Pacific time, the energy is more calm, and more caring, more empathetic. But in the mid-evening, 8, 9 p.m. Pacific time, so a lot of people will already be sleeping, the moon will be in harmony with Uranus. Well, if you're sleeping, the moon Uranus could trigger for some very psychic dreams, some very exciting kinds of active dreaming. But if you're awake, this is where there might be some thinking out of the box emotionally, being really open to trying new things, get out of old stuck routines. So, very active week. Mercury's in retrograde. You want to sleep on everything. You can make decisions, but I would get some second opinions. I would really, do your due diligence. Don't act on anything that is really important, because with Mercury in retrograde, you don't have all the information. And when you find out after Mercury goes direct, you could regret that you committed or signed a contract without knowing all the information. I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co. That's .co. Until next week, be safe and well.